everyone, Bethany Scott here and welcome to my channel. Today I am doing a few things here and there that are a little outside the box. I saw some products that I haven't really played with yet since I got them in, and I started thinking, mulling things over, and was like, what if I... and then started spiraling. So I'm going to create that, hopefully, what I have up on my head. But before we get started, I wanted to just say a quick thank you for all of those who handed or sent cards for my birthday last month. I'm just going to show a couple that just were really kind. This one's from Pam. Hope you have a terrific birth month. This actually, she was technically, I think, the first one that sent one to me. So, or that I got, actually, I should say. Not sent, but received. So that was really sweet of you. Thank you, Pam. And then wishing you the happiest of birthdays. This one's from Crystal. Thank you, Crystal. I truly, truly appreciate those who sent birthday cards and sympathy cards our way. And, you know, it's just been a little bit, I wouldn't say rough ride, but definitely roller coastery lately. So I am in the mode for spreading some cheer. So I have this really cool idea. I am taking a sheet from the Violet Studio Essential Collections paper pat. It's a pearlescent. So this is actually... pearl colored, and it's slight shimmer to it. It's really pretty in person. It's probably not going to translate very well in this video, but I'm going to try it anyways. So when the Simon Hurley release last week, was it last week? Yeah, I think it was last week, came out. This was one of those stencils that, even though I'm not an animal print gal, I definitely was like, oh, I know people who are and who would love this, including my now 5-year-old daughter, who is animal print everything. And I think she gets it from her grandma on my husband's side because she's animal print everything. So my idea, I hope, works, but this is a dual layered stencil. So you could just have it this, you could just have it this, or you can combine the two and create something really cool. So that's what my goal is today. Now, of course, I'm going to cut this down after I've created it because, well, for two reasons. One, I'm not going to be doing it very conventionally. I will talk the thinking out first, and then we're just gonna go dive in. But I want to incorporate this rubber stamp from Simon Hurley as well into the design. So I'm going to actually take it out. It's basically like paint swatches is what it's called. I don't know what it is about these paint swatches. I just gravitate towards them. Maybe it's mixed media in me. The fact that, you know, you can create something clean and simple with this, but you could also create something really elaborate. So my idea, if I can carry it out, is to go ahead and, using my Black Widow Stellar ink, I'm going to go ahead and tap out my black. If I can release the lid. There we go. Whew. That lid did not like me. So I'm just going to go ahead and see how, one, this pearlescent paper actually takes to adding a lot of things to it. That is also part of the experiment. And two, I'm going to just use this stamp here as my guide of where I want to stop roughly. So the cool thing is that I'm seeing already is that pearlescent is coming through the black ink. So as I add more black ink, it's still shimmering, which is really kind of cool. So And I just moved my everything. See, I need one of those sticky pads, but I just have not taken the time to invest in a sticky pad. Maybe soon, but for right now, I'm just going to risk losing it all. I will tape down the next step for sure, but this I feel like I can roughly handle the stencil by hand. At least the initial part. The later parts, I'll probably come back with a little bit more reinforcement, but for now, this will do. So my idea for layering is basically I'm trying to create a single layered effect for a sentiment. So I really, really hope this works. If it doesn't, I will just use this for a different project. But all right, so I'm gonna add a little bit more. I can already see it's smudging a little bit here in the bottom corner. That's just, I don't think that's actually the stencil. I think it's the paper. So I'm definitely going to have to take breaks in between to make sure this dries properly. But I'm going to go ahead and use some mint tape and tape right into the middle, right there. So at least I have a guide for my fingers. And if I go into that space that I had made the negative before, it's totally fine. I'm not opposed to it. But I think actually, I think that's all I'm gonna do. So this is a 6x6 stencil on a 6x6 paper. But I'm gonna go ahead and set this one aside and clean it off while I let the paper dry, and I will be right back. This next step is going to require a little bit more precision. So I have kept the two sides of the stencil near each other, but you know they will line up when the middles line up with the centers of those black splotches. It's very interesting to see how it slightly moved. Not moved, apologies, that was the wrong verb. But it's interesting to see how it's a little bit different. So I'm going to go for a stronger tape in the middle. I'm going to use some painter's tape just because the mint tape is not sticking as well as I'd hoped to those middle parts. I don't want to use pixie spray and accidentally rip the pearl layer off. And then this, hopefully I can use what I want the way I want. So I have the new neon lunar pastes. I got the first set. I love the first set. So of course this newer set, part 2 I would say. I really love Limelight. I have some really great ideas for that one. And then also the Black Widow Astro paste, which is really cool if you do a lot of Halloween or fall things. This would be really fun for. But for today, I'm just going to stick to the Charming lunar paste. And then I also have the Crown Me lunar paste. Now, I'm going for an ombre-ish look. It may fail epically, and I'm okay. Why? Because it's an idea I had in my head. And I just said, well, I'm going to try it, and if I hate it, I hate it, and we'll move on. So, my idea is to put the neon towards the middle. and the sparkle on the outside. Now, I am acknowledging the fact that I am going to be cutting this down, so I will be losing a lot of what I'm doing, for one. For two, I am putting it down as if it's a paint palette, knowing I am going to make a hot mess here in a second. So that's why I am very gently moving the entire thing using that sticking of the painter's tape in hopes that I can pull this off without it being a complete disaster. And who knows? I may hit it. I may love it. Who knows? So now I'm going to switch over to the other one just to put that base layer down, and I probably will come back and forth depending on how this goes. So now we're going to add that sparkle, and of course whatever I do cut off I will definitely use in a different project as long as I like the results. That's saying I like the results. So this is definitely one of my more experimental looks. But I was inspired by a few different places. Some people had just really done some great things with this stencil, and I just said, okay, let me try what's in my head and see how it works. So we are diving in and having fun with some astro paste and neon lunar paste. I'm laying it on thicker on this just because I know when I scrape out, I'm going to scrape out more. I'm trying to make sure that my blade is clean, so I'm not bringing back neon into my my little honey pot here. So this is definitely outside the box for me, and I have my microfiber towel at the ready for any oopsies or giant messes. Hopefully there are none. But unlike regular lunar paste spreading, these are kind of more clumpy, just because I know it's just going to get most of it taken off anyway. So, and it's because I'm trying to be pointed with where I'm putting the lunar paste and the astro paste, I'm not necessarily gauging my pressure. So it's very uneven right now, but I am going to hope that I can even it out and it won't be lumpy and clumpy. It'll be pretty and fun in the end. That is the goal. Okay, nearing the end, and this may just be a mixed media mashup. I really did like the techniques though that Mr. Simon Hurley shared with us during his live last week. That was really fun. If you did not get a chance to check it out, check it out. I learned so much and I was taking notes. So definitely something to look into. Now I'm going to come back because you see I lost a lot of that initial charming. So now I'm going to come back with more of a mixture. And it's okay now at this point if the two mix, because I'm not really going to be grabbing a whole lot more from the jars. In fact, I know I definitely don't need any more of the astro paste. Possibly a hair more of the Crown Me, but that's not a very strong possibly. Now I'm just pointedly trying to find places I see blinks where I know that the black was supposed to be. Alright, now here comes the really crazy part. So I'm going to take the last bits off and hand put them down. Alright, I feel like I've made quite the mess here. This is where I hope my experiment pays off, because it would be really cool. If it doesn't, like I said, I'll turn it into something different. So now I have the Simon Hurley large scraper. And what I'm going to, as carefully as possible, do with my microfiber at the ready, I'm going to scrape outward and repeat. So some of that is coming back. Okay? And I'll just move it. And same technique. Come out and even it out. I just scraped a little. This is definitely, if this works, I'm gonna be so, I'll be really excited. Okay. And I'll have made another flavor of the lunar paste, technically. Lunar astro paste, I should say. Okay, well that's as even as I'm going to be able to make it without having a whole lot of crazy going on. So, what to do with all of this? This looks like something I should throw on a canvas or something. But for now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just grab a blank piece of white and I'm gonna just let it dribble right on top like it's a paint palette. And then we're gonna create our own backdrop artwork here by scraping across. And this can be dried and used for a later project. Now I've made my own paint splatter background for another day. And this would be great to just add a sentiment right in front of it and whatever theme, go for it. All right, I'm gonna set this aside to dry and we'll grab a second one. And this one, if you've been around, you'll know what's coming next. So I'll do the same technique of just scraping the rest off. And it's created this sparkly purple. And so when I'm ready for that really cool mixed media look, like I want to add a black bat to this and mica powder, or whatever I end up doing, this would be a really cool start. All right, so I'm gonna do one last one, and this one I'm going to lift up my palette. Yes, I just called it a palette. And scrape off all the rest of this. I feel like this is a palette knife. And then I'm just going to create some artistic markings. I could actually probably create a whole nother set of these, honestly. And spritz some water here before it lands on my computer, because that's the way it's going. I have a little bit already near my computer. And if I had a thicker cardstock, I would have wiped that up using the leftover of that. Now we remove the stencil without having a huge issue smooshing or anything like that. Okay, yeah, that's really cool. I'm gonna let it sit and dry. I'm gonna clean off my stencils and I will be back. So I am being impatient and not waiting for it to completely dry. You can see I've already gotten some of the Astro Lunar paste on my magnet here. So I'm actually not even going to use a magnet, and whatever happens with this, I'm going to just embrace the mixed media look. But I have my paint splatter. I have the page as far down in the corner as possible, just lifting that up. And then I'm going to use the 100% juice, the Stellar ink from Simon Hurley, and just gonna ink it up. Apparently I can't hold an ink pad today. Maybe this technique is making me nervous because I'm not sure how it's gonna look. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little nervous that I might hate it. I hope I love it, but I might hate it. Okay, so it's all the way down in the corner. Now we're just gonna press, Give a nice good press. Hopefully I only have to do it once. And yes, some of it pressed into the lunar strobe paste. Now, here's an interesting thing. I think my pad was overly inked because we ended up more with a geometric splatter, or it looks like geodes, more scientific than an actual inking. So we're gonna try that again, and it could be the reaction of the paper as well. Remember, this is pearlescent paper, so it may not absorb ink like I think it should. So we're gonna try one more time, tapping away. And I'm just gonna let it sit there for a minute. Place my water spray on it. And then, not a minute, a theoretical minute. Okay, so it happened again. All right, so we're doing less paint splatter and more geode looking retrograde. So guess what? I'm pivoting. I'm gonna just hand tap the rest of this ink since it's not stamping. And I'm just gonna fill where I feel there should be some ink. So now we're definitely going for the mixed media look at this point. All right, I will let this dry for a little while, and hopefully the next step won't be as tediously precarious as this step was. And I'm going to just tap in a little bit of that color here because it looked too blank there. And that was too stark. Okay, I'm just pivoting. All right, we'll be back. As this is still drying, I'm looking at it and I'm thinking there's just way too much ink in general for what I'm trying to do to work. So I'm going to take the microfiber and I'm going to just dab out the excess ink in hopes that it can help the whole area dry faster. Not that I'm being completely impatient, but it's also adding texture to the exterior, so these lines in the center aren't as harsh. It's a little bit more softened and variegated into the look. So that paint splatter, because it didn't like the amount of ink I put on that, and because it also seems to not be absorbing very well into this pearlescent paper, I'm just going to rub the center part because that's where I'm trying to add my sentiment directly onto this card panel. We're mixed mediating on one base, or one card panel, I should say. We are throwing all the looks into one piece of paper. So that's daring and bold and not normal for me, but I really hope my idea works. So over here I have the Echo Park Date in the Life stamp set, and we are going to use the Create Your Own Adventure. The person that will be receiving this card is going to be going on adventures, and she's an amazing, fierce woman, and I really just wanted to send her something that would uplift her as well as just help her feel the love. So the next step is going to be tricky. One, I have placed this into the Misty and I lined up my sentiment, Create Your Own Adventure. Now I'm going to plan to use the embossing clear, but when I placed the stamp down, I noticed there was a lift already of the color there, so it may not work. I'm going to let that sit there for a second. I'm going to use my anti-static powder. Not sure how well that's going to work, given all the mixed media things we're throwing at this one today. We're throwing the kitchen sink, really. One more good set of pats here. And then I'm going to go ahead and press it as best as I can. And I can barely see the impression. So I'm going to do one more set. I can see some letters, but not all the letters. All right, that looks like it stamps better. So now I'm going to work quickly as I can. I have my coffee filter here. And I'm going to add the black sparkle embossing powder. Now, if this does not work, I have a pivot already planned. So, not to worry if it doesn't, but we'll find out very quickly. And I have a little brush here. I can grab it from underneath everything else. And yes, so it's not going to take a lot of tapping to even get it off. So what it looks like is the pearlescent is just too staticky, too wet, too whatever to actually let go of that embossing powder. So you can kind of see it, but you kind of can't. It's not really letting go. All right, so we're gonna pivot. What I've done, you can kind of see it, but I've reduced it to the minimalist amount there. And you see it's just not gonna be enough to do what I'm trying to do. All right, so that means we're gonna go have some layers when I was not intending to have layers. All right, so now I have taken a purple sheet of cardstock. I'm going to put my anti-static powder down. And this time I'm going to use the Simon Hurley Black Widow as my ink. We're going to test out the strength of the Stellar ink to hold on to embossing powder. I have high hopes, but have not done this yet, so we are going to just try it. All right. Setting that aside, bringing all of my other tools back out, working quickly before the ink dries. Now my trick, if you've seen this before, apologies for the repetition, but when I'm having trouble getting a color to grasp, I like to stamp out in that color instead of the clear. Seems to create better results. And look at that. Perfect. There's like one little overage, and I'm gonna actually add that back, but that's gorgeous. All right, clearing up my space so I don't overheat the wrong things. And when you have something with a little sparkle in, you heat from the back first, and I will speed through this. And you'll know it's complete when it's nice and shiny and glossy, just like this. You can see that the plastic has melted. Now we're gonna really be adventurous. So I'm gonna roughly figure out how to make this distressed. I'm creating a fat pull away. And I can use those tearaways for something else. This one's a little bit different because I just was too close. So I'm gonna just have to go little bit by little bit. Use a little scissors action to help me get that next one started. It's not liking my placement. There we go. So that covers the space that I created pretty much to a T. All right, so now, now I have to be brave enough to actually cut this panel down with my trimmer here. And we are going to be cutting it down. So I'm going to make it the full card panel size, which is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And then these little scraps will get used for something later on. And because I feel like this, I don't want to cut this off any further, I'm gonna find myself some kind of little accent stamp and be right back. All right, I hope this fits. I have a Gina K Designs stamp set called Doodle Sayings Mini. And I feel like one of these just will have to fit. Yeah, I think the arrow is gonna be it. Now just deciding if I want it. Yeah, I just want it there. Okay, so I'm grabbing a little tiny stamp block and just a little bit of Black Widow. I'm not going to emboss this. We're going to leave it as is. Actually, better yet, let's grab me some of that 100% juice so then it won't feel awkward that it's not embossed. There we go. Now that seems like it fits, it's appropriate, and it'll be fun. Okay, so now let's go ahead and assemble. I have an A2 size card base here out of 110-pound Nina White cardstock. I have my glue, and now we're just going to assemble. Yes, was my grandiose idea of doing this all on one panel. Yes, that was a very grandiose thought process, not taking into consideration I'm not using regular cardstock for the base of all of this mixed media-ing, but also experimenting with not necessarily techniques I've never done, but with new materials. So definitely feeling out the lay of the land in that sense, and experimenting with combining techniques too. There's a big difference. So yes, there's embossing powder down here underneath that will never get used, and that's okay. It's just a casualty of the war. Yeah. All right, and then because I'm mailing this card to the person, I'm not going to foam tape. I will just keep it simple. And now, one thing I'm going to add, even though I should have added this before, I just glued it down. I'm going to tap on a little bit of this juice onto the roughed edge. So tap off so I'm not too rough. And I'm going to do it nah, I'll do it in a swirling motion. But you'll see how that's catching the edges of that paper rip. It's creating a little bit of a depth and shadow and tying it in with the base behind it. Yes, of course, I should have thought of that before gluing down, but alas. I'm glad I caught it now, because now it's just creating this depth, and I'll bring some in like a vignette around the sentiment. And there you have it. That is the Safari Create Your Own Adventure, adventurous look, mixed media. Yeah, I know she's gonna love it. And I just think it's so much fun. I love what Simon Hurley came up with. It's opened up a lot of different ideas. Could I have been less bold and daring and tried something a little less crazy? Yeah. Or I could have just done the full panel, not worried about a central space, and accepted that layering would be possible. But I really like how the two of these, the Astro Paste and the Neon Lunar Paste, came together. A lot of the Crown Me Astro Paste came out a lot on the edges, so there's more sparkle and glitter on the edges, and it's super cute. Definitely fun, a little bit different for me, for sure. And it was almost an attempt at clean and simple, but never really got there, which is okay. This set, the stencil set, all of the things that are in Simon Hurley's latest release are just absolutely fun, and I can't wait to play with more things from that release. So if you haven't already, please don't forget to check out the winner of the giveaway. I did an exclusive video of just announcing the winners. I definitely want you to make sure that you get your packet. They're sitting over here underneath my desk, ready to put your name and address right on them. Definitely fill out that form. I will have it linked in the description below here, so that you have that one more opportunity to try to get your information in. But the 4 winners only should be filling out this form. So if you're not a winner, ignore the fact that there's a form. It's not for you. But please look back at the it's not the last video, but it should be 2 videos ago that I posted the winners, the giveaway winners. So with that, I look forward to seeing you all extremely soon, because it's school season, and that means I have lots more time to get lots more work done and have more time to play with you all and enjoy sharing what I love to do, which is my crafty decompression. Being a mom of 3, it's necessary, especially when they come home from school and they want to do like 15,000 things, but they're too tired and they should not be doing 15,000 things. But anyways, I digress. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Don't forget to find the joy in your day, and happy making. Bye!